Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a pretty ambitious idea, a blueprint for fighting global corruption. Now, the source material for this makes a really bold claim. It says the strategy for fixing the world doesn't start in parliaments or in protests. It starts with you.
I mean, think about it. You see the headlines about corruption every single day, and it can feel totally overwhelming, right? Like this unstoppable force. But what if the real starting point for this huge global battle wasn't some new law or a massive protest?
And that's the whole idea right here. This framework argues that the real fight is an internal one. It's about a personal revolution that becomes your first and best line of defense against a worldwide problem. So let's break down exactly how it's supposed to work.
Okay, so this source material lays out this fight as a three-phase journey, and it actually pulls from a trinity of books. The whole point is to transform any citizen, you, me, anyone, from just a spectator watching it all happen into a really formidable soldier in this war on corruption.
Phase 1 is all about the foundation. It's the bedrock. The idea is, before you can fight the enemy out there, you have to build this unshakable fortress inside yourself. This is all about establishing a personal character that is absolutely non-negotiable. The very first cornerstone is this Filipino concept of dongol, or honor. Think of it as your ultimate untouchable asset. It's that core integrity that exists in cultures all over the world. It can't be taxed, it can't be stolen, it can't be taken away. The goal is to make your honor so valuable that no amount of money could ever be a worthy trade.
And next up is Pananagutan, which is this deep sense of responsibility and accountability. This is your moral defense line. It's the understanding that if you're in a position of trust, you're not a king, you're a steward. You carry the weight of your actions and, this is crucial, your inactions too.
And then there's this. This simple, homegrown rule is presented as the ultimate financial firewall. It just cuts right through all the complexity and makes the choice crystal clear. Simple as that.
But hey, a strong moral compass isn't enough on its own, right? Not against an organized opponent. So, Phase 2 is all about pairing that strong character with smart, disciplined action.
Let's be honest, corruption is the ultimate shortcut. It promises that quick win, but as the source argues, it just leads to a fast collapse. True power, real freedom, that comes from the discipline to walk the right path, building brick by brick. Yeah, it's a slower journey, but it creates something that actually lasts. Now, this framework reframes the whole idea of preparation. It's not just about being ready. It's a weapon. See, corruption loves chaos and rushed decisions, so the counterattack is meticulous documentation, gathering evidence, and foresight. You're literally replacing their chaos with your clarity and facts.
And that's the key, isn't it? This whole thing isn't just about being the most righteous person in the room. It's about being the smartest. It's basically a call to action to stop just wishing for change and start strategically planning for it.
Okay, so this brings us to the final phase, and maybe the toughest one of all. Endurance. Fighting corruption is a war of attrition. The system is going to push back with isolation, with harassment, with burnout. This phase is all about building the psychological resilience to simply outlast the enemy.
So check out this mental trap the source calls the toxic loop. It starts with a setback or a betrayal. That leads to self-doubt. That doubt then paralyzes you into inaction. And of course, that inaction just reinforces that initial feeling of failure. This is the psychological win that corruption is always aiming for. So when you fight back, the system attacks. And that initial feeling is just pure victimization, of being singled out, targeted. It's a moment of intense pressure, and it's designed to do one thing, make you quit. But here is the powerful mental shift. The source offers this reframe. They are not targeting you because you're weak. They are targeting you because you're a threat. And that, right there, transforms a moment of pain into a validation of your own power and your impact. So what does all of this actually look like in action? Well, to make these ideas more concrete, the source material gives us several archetypes and then applies the framework to a real-world case study. These are kind of like roles that any of us can embody. For example, you could be the budget guardian who fights corruption by scrutinizing every single expense, or the master strategist who uses calm preparation to outplan the opposition. The really crucial point here is that these principles can be applied by anyone, in any position. And so, the source material concludes by applying this entire framework to the political journey of Senator Robin Hood Padilla.
It interprets his career as a kind of case study, connecting his focus on long-term reform to a moral foundation, his methodical preparation to strategic execution, and his political comeback to unshakable endurance. Now, it's very important we state that this is presented strictly as the author's own analysis.
So let's bring it all together. The blueprint is a clear, actionable sequence. First, you build your foundation of honor and accountability. Second, you pair it with disciplined, strategic action. And third, you cultivate the psychological resilience you need to endure the long fight. The source leaves us with this one final thought. The fight doesn't have to start with some grand gesture. It can begin with a single, small, resilient step. So the real question is, what's yours going to be?